Hello there, you're now with me, Cheryl Shaminato, for TVS News at 5. Let's begin with the headlines. The Sarawak government is committed in its efforts to develop the rural areas and open up new economic centres. These included the allocation of 39 million ringgit to link Pakan area with Ulu Paku area in Betong. Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Ahmad Douglas Ugah Ambas, said the high-impact project will open a new route for the local communities, thus reducing transportation costs between the two areas.
Saya mengumumkan bahawa Yang Hormat Premier telah meluluskan 39 juta untuk membina jalan di missing link di antara Pakan dengan Betong, Pakan dengan Ulu Paku Betong. Sekarang sedang pembinaan jalan dari Pakan ini ke toward that direction, and then di sana pun ada satu package lagi yang sedang dalam pembinaan.
Ugah added that the project is proof of the government's commitment in preparing the best infrastructure needed by the people, especially in the rural areas of Sarawak.
Dan untuk menyambung ada satu missing link 6 km. Jadi Premier telah meluluskan 39 juta untuk membina jalan ini. Apakah manfaat jalan ini? Manfaat jalan ini kalau kita nak pergi dari Serike atau dari Pakan ke Kuching, kita boleh mengurangkan tempoh perjalanan berapa kilometer? About 40 to 50 kilometers, because it's a very straight road down to the other side, and more than 1 hour saving.
Not only that, the infrastructure will also open ways for a new economy among the local communities.
Jadi inilah yang akan mengubah corak tempat kawasan ini. Yang kedua, ianya juga membuka kawasan-kawasan yang belum dibangun di sepanjang jalan itu. Tadi saya terbang, saya nampak masih banyak tanah-tanah kosong, tanah NCR yang belum dibangunkan. Jadi dengan ada jalan ini, ianya akan membuka ruang untuk kita membangunkan kawasan-kawasan dan untuk kemudahan-kemudahan penduduk-penduduk di sekitar kawasan ini dengan kawasan Betong.
On the other hand, Tabung Baik Jamal Sarawak, or TVS, hopes that the JEJAK ASNAF app can be fully utilised to benefit the community and ensure that no one is left out. Apart from that, TVS General Manager Datuk Abang Muhammad Shibli Abang Muhammad Naili said the app can also educate the public on their responsibilities.
He added, with the app, his organisation will be able to track the people who are in need of assistance and strengthen relationships with the community.
Aplikasi JEJAK ASNAF ini memanglah tujuan kita untuk memastikan ada perhubungan kita dengan masyarakat sebab Sarawak ini terlalu luas. Jadi dengan bilangan yang terhad bagi pekerja kami, jadi kita terpaksa melangkah masuk dalam era digital ini dengan aplikasi khas JEJAK ASNAF. Melalui aplikasi ini orang dapat mengadu. Di samping itu, selain daripada mengadu, mereka juga turut terlibat untuk menyiasat berdasarkan kepada soalan-soalan yang kami nyatakan di dalam aplikasi itu, dan akhirnya akan dapat memberi jawapan layak atau tidak. So inilah cantiknya aplikasi JEJAK ASNAF itu. Pada masa inilah terus terang saya menyatakan bahawa orang sudah mula merasa khawatir nak menggunakan kerana mereka melihat bahawa mereka pula jadi bertanggungjawab untuk menolong. Betul. Kalau kita nak menolong, kita nak berkebajikan, gunakanlah aplikasi itu. Jadi kami dapat menangani isu-isu yang dihadapi oleh masyarakat dengan lebih cepat.
He said this after the breaking of fast with the ASNAF group at the Cebu Islamic Complex Hall. At the function, TVS distributed assistance worth 25,800 ringgit to 46 recipients and TVS institutions in Cebu. As of March 25, 2022, TVS has distributed a total of 14.9 million ringgit to ASNAF groups who are eligible under 4 main programs, namely Program to Strengthen Scientific Tradition, Program to Develop Islamic Institutions, Program to Strengthen the Welfare of Muslim Communities, and Skill Enhancement Program.
And now on to the next update. Malaysia has abstained from a United Nations General Assembly vote to suspend Russia from the UN Human Rights Council. It was one of the 58 countries that had abstained in the voting on Thursday, which saw 93 member states vote in favor, while 24 countries were against the resolution.
The Foreign Ministry in a statement on Friday said Malaysia stressed that a critical decision, such as the suspension of a Human Rights Council member, should not be made in haste and must be accorded its due processes. Malaysia believed that the Commission of Inquiry established by the Human Rights Council in March 2022 must be allowed time to carry out investigations and present its findings first to verify allegation of any gross and systematic violations of human rights and breach of humanitarian law happening in conflict areas. Malaysia also continues to closely monitor the developments, including the human rights and humanitarian situation on the ground, while reiterating the call for unimpeded humanitarian assistance to all those in need, particularly those in vulnerable situations. Under the established rules of procedure of the UN General Assembly, the General Assembly may suspend the membership of a Human Rights Council member that commits gross and systematic violations of human rights, with a 2/3 majority of member states present and voting. Meanwhile, 18 member states did not vote on the resolution.
Welcome back. The National Science Council, NSC, which met yesterday, discussed the National Nanotechnology and Products Roadmap 2021 to 2025, which should be applied to various industries in the country.
Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this was in line with the Industrial Revolution 4.0, especially in fields such as smart agriculture, renewable energy, halal industry, and medical technology. The National Nanotechnology and Products Roadmap would also provide many socio-economic benefits to the country, including creating 33,391 jobs within 5 years. Adding to that, He said the job opportunities included 5,968 highly skilled workers, semi-skilled 24,755, and 2,668 unskilled workers, and that the nanotechnology industry was expected to contribute 151.5 billion ringgit to the gross domestic product GDP within 5 years.
Meanwhile, the search and rescue SAR operation for 14-year-old Dutch diver Nathan Renzi Chesters, who went missing in the waters of Pulau Tokong Sanggol near Mersing, Johor last Wednesday, was called off at 1:30 p.m. today.
Mersing District Police Chief Superintendent Cyril Atwood said this was following the information and investigation findings after British diver Adrian Peter Chesters and French national Alexia Alexandra Molina were found safe 16 nautical miles north of Bintan Island, Indonesia, early this morning. He said it was about 70 nautical miles or 100 kilometers from the location where they were reported missing. Based on this information, they were of the opinion that the search efforts should focus on Indonesian waters and the operation in Malaysian waters was temporarily suspended. Cyril also said that the Indonesian counterparts had been informed of this matter and they will take over the operation in Indonesian waters. However, assets at sea are always ever ready. He said this during a press conference at the Chari Lamat base set up at the Mersing District Council public jetty today. The French woman and the British man who disappeared while diving off the coast of Malaysia were found safe this morning, drifting at sea 2.5 days after they went missing. 4 people went missing on Wednesday, April 6, at around noon on a training dive near Tokong Sanggol, a small island off the southeastern town of Mersing. The group's instructor, Christine Grodam, 35, from Norway, was rescued on Thursday, April 7th.
And Costa Rica's Juan Santa Maria International Airport reopened on Thursday, April 7, hours after a Boeing 757-200 cargo aircraft operated by DHL made an emergency landing and skidded off the runway.
Images from the site showed a yellow plane emblazoned with the DHL logo being doused with firefighting foam where it had landed on the grassy field next to a runway. The tail had detached and a wing had broken. Airport operator Aris said the airport on the outskirts of capital San Jose reopened at 3:30 p.m. local time, several hours earlier than expected following the 10 a.m. incident. Some 8,500 passengers and 57 commercial and cargo flights were affected by the closure, Aris said. DHL said the crew was unharmed and that one member was undergoing a medical review as a precaution. The company also said an ongoing investigation to determine what happened had been launched. The aircraft was bound for Guatemala when it apparently had a failure in the hydraulic system, members of Costa Rica's Civil Aviation Authority said. The issue prompted the pilot to request an emergency landing shortly after takeoff. DHL and airport authorities said they were working together to move the aircraft, although it was not affecting operations. Aris originally estimated the airport would remain closed until 6 p.m. local time, which would have impacted 3 cargo flights and 32 commercial flights to and from the United States, Central America, Mexico, Canada, and Europe.
And that concludes TVS News at 5. For more updates, don't forget to tune in to 11:30 Nightline Tonight with Hari Zainuddin. Here with me, Shalsha Metal, and I'll see you next time. Have a good evening.